Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to the We All Juggle Knives channel. So I have another one of these videos where I show you a wide variety of different knives. So what we have here are a number of blades. Most of these seem to have a self-defense theme, and also all of these happen to be budget friendly. This knife is the GMAX T Tanto, 4 inches blade length, 8 inches overall length, 4.5 millimeters thick. Around that, might even be a little thicker, 6.4 ounces, and it was $30, D2 steel G10 handle scales. Considering this was a $30 knife, it's very well made, it's very stout, and there's just a lot of good attention to detail. So you have a lot of contouring and texture on this handle, like right there for example. You have decent thickness. It's got red liners, which are attractive. You have a lanyard hole there, which is tubed, a secondary lanyard hole there, and you have an integrated guard right there. It's an angular tanto with a sub-tip, and you've got a flat grind up to that bevel. And it has a sharpening choil there as well. It's a tough little shank, right? A tough little pry bar-ish shank. This is the sheath. It's got eyelets. It has a Tech-Lock looking belt loop. It's molded, holds it in. It is silent. Yeah, so my final thoughts. A simple, tough, brutal, compact design. Definitely recommended in the mid-sized, compact, martial, or self-defense category. This knife is the FNR EF152. 4.2 inches blade length, 8.8 inches overall length, 4 millimeters thick, 5.5 ounces. It was only $30. The steel is K110 steel, which is a bowler, roughly equivalent to D2. Here's the sheath. It's got eyelets there, Tech-Lock loop there. It's got a place to push off of. It is silent. It holds it in. This has a pommel ring. It has excellent texture on the handle scales, red liners. This is rounded for comfort. It has jimping right there on a thumb rest. So the ring gives you options, but also it's useful just for bashing things without ruining the bottom of the handle scales. Right? Of course, you could also just think of it as a giant lanyard hole. Right? Many uses for that, but it aids in retention. Even if you don't put your finger there, it still aids in retention, right? That part sticks out. It's got a nice stone wash. The grind is very precise, I would say. Mid-sized martial blade or self-defense oriented blade. It's a social distancing tool. Let's just call it that. Now that dagger you see there was featured in my last episode, my previous video to this one. A lot of people liked it and I was pleased with it. It was $25, and the brand on that was Amer Tactical. So because I was pleased with that dagger, I went back and I checked out their Amazon store, and I found this ring knife. 3 inches blade length, 7¼ inches overall length, 5 millimeters thick, 4.9 ounces, and only $25. The steel is 440C, G10 and carbon fiber handle scales, Kydex sheath. So we have a Karambit-like ring, and a lanyard hole with an impact point right there. You've got a thumb rest with jimping, a flat grind up to that bevel, and a piercing blade shape. Little bit of a sharpening choil right there. Now with that Karambit-like ring, you can use it as just a pommel, right, to help secure your grip, or you can put a finger in the ring if you want to. Or you can just use it like an extension to smash on things. My overall impression of this knife, it's another winner for Amer Tactical, and the quality indicators, meaning the sharpness, the fit and finish, and just the coherency of the design, it's more than you would expect for this price point. Yeah, in other words, this $25 knife is noticeably better than many competing $25 knives. Here we have an interesting and handy little knife. All right, survival gear. The blade length is 3 inches, 7 inches overall length, only 2.7 ounces in weight, and only $22 on US Amazon. The steel is 8CR14 MOV stainless steel and micarta handle scales. When they say this is 8CR14 MOV, I believe them. Let's give them a hand for actually being honest when a lot of budget brands are not. It makes perfect sense that they would use that steel for this price point. I totally believe them for once. I will also point out that micarta is actually a very good material for this price point, usually found in a bit more expensive knives. Here is the sheath that it came with. Also came with that cord, I guess, if you want to have a neck knife option, but it's got some eyelets there. It's got those leather looking straps there, right? It holds it in, it does not rattle, you push off with this. Alright, so that's the sheath. It's sort of like the whole street scalpel idea. And a street scalpel, well, it's sort of like a caper knife. The caper knife is a small game processing knife, and if you take a caper and you make it a little bit thicker and a little bit more tactical, maybe paint it black, you have the street scalpel idea. Yeah, I feel like this would be a pretty handy knife just to carry around for day-to-day tasks. We've got a full flat grind. Now this blade length tends to get under any length limits. Now there's no blade length limit where I live, but there are in some places. Yeah, the only thing I would change on this would be this, that painted on finish. I would prefer more like a DLC finish. Yeah, so if you are one of the about 10% of people out there that chooses to carry a small fixed blade instead of a folder, then you definitely might want to consider this, especially since it's a uber reasonable price. And next up we have the Iokco knife. That is the brand. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you're showing a folder? Actually, yes. Now, I know that I concentrate on fixed blades, especially in these type of video, and that's because for the most part, fixed blades get more views, at least among my subscribers. We love fixed blades, but every once in a while I find a folder that I really think is worth your time because a lot of use or quality for a good price. So this knife was $38. It came in that nice box and they went all out. They gave you that nice case. And I really like that blade shape, right? Extra wide, pointed cleaver blade shape. I just feel like I'm getting more for my money. It's got some weight to it. The blade length is 3.5 inches. The closed length is 4.6 inches. Blade is 3 millimeters thick, 5.4 ounces, D2 steel, G10 handle scales. And it is a liner lock with an index flipper. A pocket clip right there. A lanyard slot, you've got jimping there on that spacer. You have an index flipper, 2 thumb studs, a caged ball bearing pivot, comes out smoothly and decisively, a little bit of a choil there, jimping on a thumb rest there. So this pointed cleaver with a little bit of a curve, piercing, slicing, mincing. So these wide cleaver type blades, these mini cleavers on knives, they are actually very popular, right? You're basically getting a $38 version of that same type of style that you'll see on $200 collectible folders. Yeah, so if you're itching to buy another folder, but maybe you're not trying to spend too much right now, consider this. I think this will satisfy that itch for now, and I think it's worth the price. Alright people, interesting tactical knife. I'll show you the sheath first. It's synthetic and it has this leather piece here, a belt loop here, and it's just a weirdo sheath, but it's got a retaining strap. Now this is a very interesting knife. This was randomly seen on Temu. It does not have a name, and I don't have a lot of information on it, but it was being sold by DML Tool on Temu. 5-inch blade length, 10-inch overall length, full tank construction. It was $14. A few things I notice. The blade shape reminds me a lot of the Cold Steel Immortal folder. However, I do suspect that this actual knife was probably based on a much more expensive fixed blade. Now, the steel for this was not listed, but I never buy a knife without an educated guess as to what the steel is. With a knife like this, a good rule of thumb is that most likely that steel is 420 stainless steel. Almost always, all right? I would bet that that is a China equivalent of 420 stainless steel. This skull-piercing pommel is just perfect for church on Sunday, as they say. And this thing is brutal. I mean, it really doesn't matter what the steel is, right, for what this is for. This ain't supposed to be a bushcraft knife. It's basically like a spear with the handle that fits in your hand, right? It's a thrusting implement. It's thick enough to do the job. It's something that if they used a better steel, it would be like freaking $300, but they didn't. So it's kind of a novelty collectible, but functional, in a brutal way, Martial blade. And really quick, just two more things in the budget category. Each of these knives was $10. Could they not be worth it? Well, I definitely think they are. This is actually an M-Tech. Not since the M-Tech Raptor have I reviewed an M-Tech. Actually, no, I probably have, but the M-Tech Raptor was the greatest M-Tech. We know that, but that was an M-Tech. And this is Milspec Tactical, they're saying. All right, aluminum handle on this. This is assisted with a flipper and a useful blade shape. And this looks downright fun. Also assisted, also with a flipper. All right, this was on US Amazon, and this was found on Temu. All right, here's the info I have on these. So that is an M-Tech. You see the item number there, 3.2 inches blade length, 4.5 inches closed length, 4.3 ounces. It was $10. Aluminum handle scales, liner lock with a flipper, an assist. And that knife, we're just going to call it the random Temu knife. Milspec Tactical, also $10, and both of these are 3CR13. Now, I know some people are going to unsubscribe right now because of the M-Tech. You're showing an M-Tech? Bitch, I invented M-Tech. Right, no, I actually didn't, but see, I don't care how many bad knives a brand makes, I only care how many good ones. Again, I'm going to go back to the M-Tech Raptor. An awesome knife, right? Because you don't have to buy the bad ones. You can just cherry pick. That's what you do with every brand. Is this $10 knife? Are these $10 knives worth more than most other $10 knives? Well, yeah, definitely. If you need a beater knife, which you probably don't because my average subscriber is like 54, so you probably have a lot of really good knives. But if you need like a gift or something like that, or just something that is essentially going to be, I mean, that Karambit looking one, if you look at the blade shape, it's basically like a fixed blade version of a utility knife, right? Draw cutting. So that's these. Hope you enjoyed seeing them. Okay, YouTube, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment. It doesn't have to be about knives. You could just catch up, tell me how you're doing. I hope you enjoyed seeing this episode of Rapid Overviews. If you enjoy seeing a lot of knives in your feed, be sure to subscribe to me. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.